Bethany Burgess, and I'm the clinical director here at Hospice of Anchorage. Thank you for allowing us into your homes this year for navigating the holidays. Our mission is to help individuals and families live well with and prepare for life-limiting illness, dying, and grief. Today, we will be bringing you a program called Navigating the Holidays. This program is truly a community project. Each one of the hospices in town, Hospice of Anchorage, Providence, Ancora, and Encompass, played a role in helping bring this to you. Additionally, Deb Sis and Julia Terry are two bereavement professionals that volunteered their time and expertise to be here with us today. So thank you to all involved, and I want to take a moment to prepare you for what's coming up. You'll hear from each of these bereavement professionals on ideas, tips, methods, things they've seen work well for folks navigating these new times of a holiday without their loved ones. So I'd like to invite you to take a moment, take a deep breath, and join with us as we talk through navigating the holidays. Now I'll turn it over to Nathan and Julia.
It's lovely to be here today to talk about the holidays and grief. My name is Nathan Rogers. I am a chaplain, and for about a decade I ran an adult grief support program for Providence Hospice here in Anchorage.
And I'm Julia. I am a bereavement provider, a social worker, and I previously helped to run the Forget Me Not bereavement program out of Hospice of Anchorage, and I am also grateful to be here with you today.
We wanted to take a few minutes to talk about the holidays and grief and some of the little nuances that we've noticed over the years talking to people that come up that cause extra stress. So we want to name a few things out loud that would be worth realizing as we get closer to the holiday season. The holidays themselves can be a stressful time, and it's simply because there's so many good things that people often want to add to life. The celebrations and presents and cards and decorations, the list goes on. All those things are good things, but they also add to our to-do list, and for many people can become stressful. Again, it's sort of a good stress in general, but the holidays often add for us. Part of the extra trouble for grieving people is grief by nature takes energy away from us. It takes a lot of physical energy to grieve emotionally, and managing stress requires energy. And if the holidays and all the traditions and extras that we want to add are requiring our energy, yet grief is tapping it, that creates a problem for many people. And so we want to talk about some of those nuances.
Yeah, and I think maybe one of the things that's a little bit different about this particular time of the year is that there's a lot of pressure from that external world that you were mentioning, Nathan, whereas, important dates and holidays may happen throughout the year, but when we get to that sort of end of autumn, midwinter time period, when the world around us is celebrating in a way that we might not feel engaged in, there's a different kind of pressure there than, for example, if you don't feel like going to a barbecue in the middle of the summer. So I think that one of the things that I think about a lot is how do we navigate that space between ourselves and the world around us, and how do we make sure that we're taking care of our own needs, and then showing up for the people that we can and want to show up for during that time period too. Back to you.
Yeah, one of the things that's worth naming is that the holidays in themselves are a part of tradition, and tradition is one of the ways in which we live out meaning in our lives. And because there are so many layers over all of the holiday traditions, and grieving people tend to have less energy when we're grieving. A phrase we used to use is, when we're grieving, we're at our worst, not at our best. And so if there's extra layers, the first piece of practical advice has been to ask a question such as, without this thing or these few things, excuse me, let me say this the right way. One of the questions that can be helpful to ask is, what are the few essential pieces of the holiday that keep it feeling like the holiday? You know, if I don't cook this dish for Thanksgiving, it just isn't Thanksgiving. If you know the answer to that, then that's one way to preserve the holiday, the tradition, and maybe some of the other dishes or extras can be let go. And people have found, that process of asking those whittle away questions can help me name what's really important to me.
Yeah, and I think that that's a conversation that we have depending on what our family system looks like. So if you're an individual person who's looking at what does this holiday tradition look like for me, what is it going to transform into while I navigate this holiday season solo, you might be asking those questions of yourself. And if you're part of a larger family system, or maybe even a dispersed family system that you're trying to bring back together in order to experience this new normal together, you might be asking those questions together and saying, what's the thing that we can let go with the least harm to the whole of us? Understanding too that you get to make your own decisions about your own needs, and that you don't have to capitulate to the greater good all of the time. I do think that there's something to be said for having those conversations in a group, because it means that maybe you get to allow a little bit of oxygen into this space, that you're not the only one that's thinking about this, that other people are thinking about it as well. And I'm curious about some of the traditions that you've heard from families that maybe have morphed due to grief or remained consistent, and maybe we can talk about that a little bit.
I think of the first story that always comes to mind is a lady I worked with after her husband died, and their tradition for Christmas was the two of them and their dogs. She raised basset hounds and showed them, and the two of them and their dogs would be in the living room in front of the fire on Christmas morning, opening presents. And that was how they had done it for quite a few years, and that was really meaningful for her. In talking with her approaching the holidays, I remember her saying she didn't feel like going to parties or opening presents or sending cards. She didn't have the energy to do any of it. But some people that cared about her had sent her a few presents, and she told me with this resolve about her, as much as I don't feel like it, I'm going to sit in front of that fireplace with my two basset hounds without my husband, and I'm going to open presents, and I might cry through all of them. But that's how I want to celebrate Christmas, to keep the memory alive. It's just a fascinating story. Any come to mind for you?
Yeah, I share this one basically every year. It's the first one that I think of. And that's that, my younger brother died a number of years ago. I always lose track of time because I've decided that time is fake. And even more so in our grief journey. My brother died, I think, 16 years ago at this point, and I always think about him during the Christmas holiday season because he loved Christmas more than basically anybody that I know. But he loved Christmas in that way of really loving to give himself gifts. So we always laugh about this within my family system, because he would go and he would purchase a gift for himself and wrap it up and put it under the tree, a little card that said, "To Ian, from Ian." And then on Christmas Eve, when we got to open our one gift that we always got to open on Christmas Eve, he would excitedly open this gift and then walk around the house kind of patting himself on the back and saying, "Great job, Ian, getting me the thing that I really wanted." And I love thinking about this now, but in the early days of grieving him, it was really hard. And because this whole season from, early October all the way through to the beginning of January really felt like an Ian-infused time of the year. We actually just checked out of the holidays completely for a lot of years. And so for probably maybe 6-7 years after my brother died, we no longer gathered together in Thanksgiving, around a Thanksgiving meal. We didn't do any Christmas holiday things. We still spent time together as a family. We just said, forget it, to all of the pageantry and the trees and the present giving, and that was okay. I think we were all a little anxious about it initially. What does it mean to just not do the holidays? Will it be hard? And I think that the answer was that it actually brought us together in some ways and allowed us to do the things that we individually needed to do as well. And then a lot of years later, I had a son, and we decided that we would engage in Christmas again. And even now, our Christmas is transformed, because every year around the holiday season, we remember my brother and we do activities that honor him. And grief shifts and it changes and becomes tender in some moments in ways that you didn't think that it would. But also it's okay to just sort of say, like, forget it, that's too much energy for me. I'm not going to do that thing right now. And I wonder if that makes you think of any other ways that people have experienced the holidays.
That's a great example of a few things that people have told us are helpful advice, if there's advice in grief, which there largely is not. But it would be that it's okay to say no when I just don't have it. I don't have any mojo this year, and I don't even have to explain that. And you have said, well, here's how my family said, no, we're not going to do this as a form of self-care. And you said, things shift, they change, they evolve, and that's okay too. The no doesn't have to be the new tradition forever. If you want it to be, go for it. You make me think of another woman. This is a similar story to what I said before, but I love the idea of it. Her house with her husband, their house was the place you go if you don't have anywhere else to go. And they just had a network where they would find those people who were travelers or new to the state or just didn't have family here. And they would say, come on, you're coming to my house for Thanksgiving. And it wasn't just come on over. It was like, you bring a dish and you come over. She just wrapped them right into the family. And after her husband died, she chose to maintain that tradition. I think she took the first year off, given the time that her husband died. But I know that several years later, I've heard of many holidays where she has invited others who don't have anywhere else to go. A good friend of mine now goes there each Thanksgiving and brings a dish, because you don't come as a freeloader in her house, but you come and you join. But those are some of the big themes about giving ourselves permission to change and be different, if it's going to be doing it different for 1 year or for many years. I think of another family who, after the matriarch died, they wanted to take a pass on the December holidays, and they had the means, so they all booked a cruise. This is before quarantine. They said, we're not doing any of it, but we're going to go be together on a cruise ship somewhere on the ocean. And that was okay, because the holidays ask a fair bit of us, and grief asks so much more of our energy. So giving ourselves permission and not overburdening ourselves with romanticized expectation of the holidays that we often carry. And it's okay to carry that, because it can be a good thing, but it can become harmful if we overburden ourselves with it.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's one other thing that I'd like to say about that, and that it's okay if you want to do it up really big too. Sometimes when we've been really struggling to find joy in our day-to-day lives, spending a little bit of time and attention building that joy together and co-creating it can be really healing. And I think about people that I know who have incorporated some of their memories of their people into their holiday experiences, whether it's through storytelling, or one of the traditions that I was really excited about when I first came over to Hospice of Anchorage was a memory tree, and being able to put an ornament on the tree in remembrance of your loved one every year, and have that be something that you did together and marked the time and celebrated the life and the love that you got to share with one another for as long as you were together in this corporal world, and for as long as you might be together forever after. I guess the answer is there isn't a right answer. Mm-hmm. You get to kind of just make it up as you go along, like almost everything else that comes with grief, and maybe giving yourself grace, giving one another grace is the most important part there. Like, we don't have to be perfect. In fact, it's much more fun when you are not perfect.
That's a really good point, and makes me think of one probably the last thought that I have to share on this topic, something we repeated in grief groups often, which was grieving isn't about right or wrong. Am I doing this the right way? Am I doing it the right way for my kids or for myself? We found that's not a helpful question. A helpful question is something more like, am I doing this in a healthy way? We all know when it's unhealthy. So is what I'm going to do with my family or for myself a healthy thing? Okay, go for it. Whether it's change, whether it's maintaining, whether it's big or small. Let's take care of ourselves.
Hi, welcome. This is Debbie Sis. I've been a long-time hospice volunteer, and I would like to invite you to take part in a special candle ritual that honors your special person as well as yourselves. In your gift bag of materials, you will find another gift bag with gold or silver spirals, and inside a candle holder with a battery tea light as well as a gift tag. You will also need a pen for this activity. If you don't have the gift bag, go ahead and just find a piece of paper, a tag, or a piece of note card and a pencil, and if you have a tea light or a candle that you'd like to use as well, that would be just fine. When you are ready, please proceed with an open heart. Just like when we nurture relationships with friends and family on earth by visiting together, visiting by phone or emails, we can also do things to keep a loved one's memory and spirit alive in our life. I have found that serving a special person's special dish on a holiday and sharing that this is Grandpa's favorite dessert has been a simple ritual that has helped keep memories alive for my family. Rituals can be a beautiful and simple way to honor our special people. I would like to invite you now to share together in a very simple ritual. Withdraw into a safe, quiet, inner place. With receptivity and love, listen to your deepest inner wisdom. Peace of mind, calm, and wholeness will result. The more we embody this grace, the more we will radiate goodwill and harmony, and the more good we will create for ourselves and others. I invite you to use the tag in your gift bag or a piece of paper and choose whatever feels the most comfortable for you. Perhaps write your special person's name on the tag and a quality you most remember and appreciate about them. Or perhaps you would like to write your special person a note, and on the other side of the tag, respond as your special person might respond to your note. Give yourself a couple of minutes for this activity. When feeling complete, light your candle and place it in the candle holder and tie the tag to the candle holder. These kinds of rituals can help us to take time for our important feelings and nurture an ongoing relationship with our special people. After you write on your tag and attach it to the holder with your candle lit, take a deep breath in and exhale slowly as you feel the connection to your special person and possibly to others who have passed away that are dear to you. The beauty of your glowing candle represents your connection to your special person, and during this time of year when we are aware of the darkness, the contrast of candlelight is ever more visible. In the darkness of winter, we trust in the light of the coming spring. Even though we may feel a deep emptiness due to our loss, we can also allow the memories and light of their life to touch and heal us in time. Setting aside time to remember with a simple candle can help us to feel grounded and safe when we are out in the world. It can be a safe container of time for our sorrow. Thank you, and know you are supported.
We'd like to offer this candle ritual to you that you can find in the booklet as a gift to you and your family, as a potential grounding activity that you can do together or alone anytime you'd like. So I'm going to lead you through it, and you are welcome to use this recording in the future, or again, you can find this in your booklet and do it on your own. As we light these 4 candles in honor of you, we light one for our grief, one for our courage, one for our memories, and one for our love. The light of this first candle represents our grief. The pain of losing you is intense. It reminds us of the depth of our love for you. The light of this second candle represents our courage to confront our sorrow, to comfort each other, to change our lives. This third candle is a light of all of our memories of you, to the times that we laughed, the times we cried, the times we were angry with each other, the silly things that you did, and the caring. This fourth candle is the light of our love. As we enter this holiday season, day by day, we cherish this special place in our hearts that will always be reserved for you. We thank you for the gift that your life has brought to each of us. We love you, always.
Thank you, Julia, for leading us in that ritual. Thank you for each of those who are gathered together to watch this today, whether you lost a loved one or are supporting someone who did. I hope that each of you can take a few moments to reflect on what was said and how this may apply in your life. Each of the hospices represented, Providence Hospice, Hospice of Anchorage, Ancora, and Encompass, all provide free bereavement support available to anyone in the community. If there's one message I want to leave you with, it's that you are not alone. Please reach out as you need support.